It's World AIDS Day. Recently, West Hollywood inaugurated a new AIDS memorial, which is part sculpture and part park. It has tall bronze poles, and at the top of the poles are little lights, so it looks like candlelight vigil lights, all gathered on a travertine plaza. It will be used for poetry, speaking, performances, and activism and protest in the tradition of the fight against AIDS. When I was first arriving at the inauguration and standing and waiting for the seating and to start the ceremony, I met a group of black women, some cisgendered and some trans, and we were talking about the presence of AIDS and the need for the continued fight now. You know, we've become so comfortable with PrEP and with the cocktails, with people surviving and people preventing. But it's a different time since 2016 and even more different since 2024. And once again, the things that saved us from AIDS, that helped stem the pandemic, are in recession, are being removed, and we have to fight again. Here's what one of the women told me, that in her community, the schools are no longer allowed to teach AIDS and safe sex information. In many places in the country, schools are not allowed to teach anything about sex. They're not allowed in Florida to talk about being gay. In many places, they're not allowed to talk about being trans or gay, or to talk about sex and safe sex and about any STIs, sexually transmitted infections, and how you get them. And children need it. The need is so great, even in junior high school and younger ages, in the sophisticated world we live in, children approaching puberty are starting to experiment, and with no guidance, they can get themselves into permanent trouble, like contracting HIV. Now, that may sound far-fetched to you, but I personally know someone who was a trainee, a postulant, with my House of Sisters here in Los Angeles, who grew up in South Georgia, and they were HIV positive by the time they were 16. How did that happen at 16? Because, they told me, no one in South Georgia was teaching about sex and HIV and AIDS. They had no idea that you could get HIV from having sex. And they were starting to have sex. Because you know what? Even in the most Christian of places, kids play around. You know, we've all heard that meme about good Christian girls who have the ring, who take the vow, and they will not have sexual intercourse, meaning vaginal penetration. So they do oral, or they do anal, or they do other things. Kids are having sex no matter what rules we lay down. And they need to be forearmed and forewarned. We need to teach them. If the schools won't, if the parents won't, the parents object to the schools doing it, the parents say, we'll do it, and then they don't, because it's against their beliefs, or they're squeamish, or whatever the reason, humans being humans, they don't. The kids need the information. And so the woman said to me, and I'm saying to you, help people, young people, get the information about how STIs, and in particular, how HIV, which leads to AIDS if untreated, how it transmits, that you can't get it from things like hugging and kissing and sitting in the chair that someone sat in, and what you do to protect yourself. Condoms, PrEP. All the old safe sex practices we used to talk so much about in the 80s and 90s. It's time to talk about them again. Put it out there on your own social media. Don't go grooming anybody. Don't go, forcing your way into some child's life and exposing them to things they aren't ready for. But if we start the conversation again and you talk about it yourself in your own space, it will be more available to young people who are not being given the information that can keep them from having to deal with HIV and AIDS. Now, some hard cases will say, oh, but you know what, it's not a death threat anymore. It's a chronic illness. There's medication. There's the cocktail. True, but do you really want to give someone a disease that they have to be vigilant about for the rest of their life? And AIDS still kills people. Sometimes the cocktails don't work. Sometimes they work for a time, and then they stop working. Don't risk anyone's life. And I'm asking you to work with me to help people get the information about how you contract AIDS and how you prevent AIDS. If you have any questions, there are many organizations in many cities fighting this fight. Here in Los Angeles, it's AIDS Project Los Angeles, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Aid for AIDS, Being Alive, Life Group LA, and many more. You can go to their website and you can look up the information that you may wish to include in your social media or just talking with friends. The fight is still on. The threat has come back. But if we work together and we all pitch in, we can keep AIDS in recession. May you have many blessings on World AIDS Day. Remember to tell the stories of the people that you lost in your life, because those stories will move people's hearts and help them to see the importance of still fighting AIDS. Thank you for your blessings, Kevin, Tony, Connie, Laughing Boy. Thank you for being my friends. I'm Hindu, and I was sorry to see you go, but gosh, you must be somewhere in your early 20s by now, back again with a new name. Wherever you are, may you be blessed.